What's up, Modern Rockers? It's Pete Thorn. Welcome to my studio. Hey, on that track at the beginning of the video, I had a great time recording all the guitar parts and even the bass guitar part using a new plugin from my pals at Mercurial Audio from Russia. So they make great plugins. A few years ago, they sent me their Marshall plugin that just blew me away. I'd never heard of the company before, and they said, you want to make a demo of this? I said, I got to try it first. I plugged in my guitar, and I had one of those cool experiences where, you know, armed a track, pulled the plugin up on a track in Logic, and started playing, and it was like, damn, that sounds really good. The first chord or note I played just sort of struck me as it had the right character. I didn't have to get into a lot of tweaking on the amp controls or change IRs or any of that stuff. However the plugin pulled up, it was just like, that sounds damn good. So fast forward to now, they've got this new plugin out modeling a terrific amp, classic amp from the 90s. One of the first boutique amps, 3-channel, 100-watt, all-tube head. Well, maybe not one of the first boutique, but as boutique became boutique in the 90s, I like to think this was one of the first amps that people were talking about. So the plug-in version of it that they've created models all the stuff, all the switches, all the excursion and gain boosts and structure and all that stuff. It's all in there in the plug-in, as well as a wide range of different cab sims. There's G12M 75, as well as Greenback 25s, Vintage 30s, even K120s, bunch of different 412 cab sims in there for you to pick from. And you can blend up to 2 microphones on the virtual cabinets, 2 virtual mics on any virtual cabinet. You can pick from 57, 121, or 441 microphones and blend any 2 of those. So I had a really similar experience using this plugin as I did when I tried their Marshall-inspired plugin for the very first time. It just sounded great right out of the gate. Plugged in, dialed it up, and it was like, there it is. Within 4 or 5 minutes, I had a tone that I was really satisfied with. So it's really cool. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is break down a bunch of the sounds from the track at the beginning of the video, show you the individual parts and what the plugin sounds like soloed, and also give you some more sound examples. It's kind of fun doing a video for a plugin because I've figured out a way that I can talk and do a little bit of commentary and explain what I'm doing as each part is playing. So you're going to see that in just a second here. I'm also going to loop a section, and that's going to allow me to go in and tweak the knobs on the plugin, add some effects, take effects away, try the different cab sims. You're going to see it all. All right, here we go. It's the Euphoria amplifier plugin from the nice folks at Mercurial. Okay, let's check out the first part in the song. Channel 1 on the Euphoria. I'm going to turn off all the effects. It's just the clean channel. Using the 412 Modern V30 cab. Great amp-like tone. Here's the chorus. The echo. Ping pong echo. Reverb. So for the first melody part that comes in, kind of the nasal filtered melody at the beginning of the tune, I used the blue channel of the amp, and then I used the metal area distortion pedal here, which is like supposed to be like a metal zone, obviously. I boosted the mids way up and filtered the lows out. So I can turn the virtual pedal on and off, and the reverb. So there's just the blue or crunch channel on the amp. Turning the effects back on. Pretty cool. So for the first dirty rhythm guitars that come in, I'm using channel 2, the blue channel on the amp, and I'm boosting it with TS-808 for a classic kind of metal combination. Boosting with the TS-808 to keep the amp tight and also add some gain. I'll turn the pedal on and off. So lops off a little lows, add some grind and aggressiveness. Now I've got the gate on here as well. I'm going to turn the gate off. You're going to hear a little bit of noise come in, or a lot of noise actually. Gate takes care of it when I toggle it back on. Now, just like on a real Bogner, I can flip the structure switch, hit the boost, add a lot more gain. So normally when I'm doing my my video demos, especially for pedals and stuff, I don't use a lot of EQ or any kind of post in the mix or anything like that because I want, you know, the pedal to be accurately represented. But sometimes you just have to, and this was turning out to sound like a really cool, like actual like modern rock mix. Well, when you're doing modern rock guitars, you just kind of have to add some EQ in the mix. I mean, when you're trying to get like 6 different guitar parts to all speak and sound like a record or something, you're just going to end up using EQ. So I'm going to show you what I did on the stereo pair of these guitars. I'm using this Clariphonic EQ from a company called Kush. I'm going to turn it on and off. Okay, there you hear it. Come on. Okay, so it's just adding some clarity, some top end cut, and really making the guitar speak in the track. So for the next sort of a riff theme that comes in the song, main sort of riff part, first of all, I did a stereo kind of production trick where I actually recorded a reverse chord and it swells. Wah! You're gonna hear that come in real clearly here in a second. I'm using the red channel on the amp for these parts. I've got the gain boost on. It's real high gain and grindy. And I'm using the Clariphonic EQ again, and I'll turn it on and off so you can hear what it's doing. Exactly. Real Bogner, real high gain. You'll notice it's a slightly different part on the left and right channel. And then you hear the gate kick in real tight and keep things clean at the end there. So in the last 8 bars before the outro, I wanted to kind of reinforce the rock, the low rhythm part. So I used my Dan Electro baritone tuned down to C sharp, red channel, real high gain, real saturated. Boost is on, structure is on. A little bit of reverb. I'm using the gate. Once again, I'm using the 412 Modern T75 cab. So let's look at the lead tones on the track at the beginning of the video. For this, I used my PT signature guitar, and I'm using the amp real kind of modded. I mean, you know, it's the red channel with the gain boost on, the structure switch on, got the treble boosted up, the mids boosted up, bass cut a bit. And I'm using the TS-808 pedal in front, much like I would use a real one. Drive set low, tones a little below half, levels boosted to kick the front end of the amp and tighten it up all at the same time. So I'm using quite a bit of reverb on that, as well as some echo, just a quarter note echo, so it's not stereo. And a little bit of chorus. Okay, so I've copy-pasted the main riff in the song and sort of virtually looped it in the DAW. That's going to allow me to change channels on the amp, turn the knobs, turn on and off some effects, try some different cab settings, and just show you guys what the plugin's capable of. So I'm using the Euphoria on bass as well, and I'm gonna do actually a detailed, complete separate video about how I got the bass tone on this track, because I think it's really cool, and I could go deeper into detail in a dedicated video. Essentially what I did on this track is I recorded the bass DI right into a track, and then what I like to do sometimes is then mult that track to a couple different tracks, sometimes just one more track, or sometimes to two more tracks. So I'll end up with 3 different tracks with the same part on them, the DI bass on 3 different tracks, and then I'll treat each track differently. And so what I did on this is I left one, just, you know, the stock DI, and I like to get all my sub and kind of a little bit of clarity out of that. And then I did a clean bass amp track on yet another track, and I used a GK UA bass amp sim for that. And then I used the Euphoria on yet a 3rd track to get all the grind and dirt for the bass. Okay, so first up here, this is just my DI. You can hear there's lots of sub in it, and I'm getting even a little bit of click and clarity out of it, but it's mostly just that deep sub. This is adding in my bass amp track with the GK UA bass amp sim, actually. This is like an 810 cab with a real clean bass amp. And now I'm going to add in the Euphoria. So you can hear this is all the grind and dirt. And I'll just solo that grind and grit. Not a lot of low end going on. It's mainly just top end and warm grit. That's all 3. Rockers and guitar heroes, thanks for watching my video on the Mercurial Euphoria amplifier plugin. Terrific plugin, sounds really natural. You may or may not have heard of these guys before, but be sure and check them out. It's real affordable software. I'm really impressed with what they've come out with so far, and I can't wait to see what they do next. You can check it out further down at the link you see in the video description below. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell beside the subscribe, and that'll give you an alert every time I put out a new video. And hit the thumbs up if you dug the video, if you don't mind. And I will see you real soon. I'm Pete Thorn. All right, take care.